Archangel Michael says, I am reaching out to you with a voice that has been stirring in the heavens, because the doors that were locked for so long are finally being opened by the gentle hands of the Lord, and this very moment carries a sacred weight, for the blessings you have prayed for, wept for, and hoped for are no longer hidden but are being poured out over your life with a love that is endless, steady, and true. Type 1818 to claim miracles and breakthroughs. This moment is not like the others that have passed by quietly, for it is wrapped in divine timing, held together by the eternal wisdom of God, and it brings to you a shift that is meant to remain forever, not for a short season but for the rest of your journey, shaping every path you walk upon and filling each breath with a sense of purpose, renewal, and deep peace. You may have felt as though the silence of your prayers meant they were unheard, but today, heaven confirms that every whispered word, every hidden tear, and every unspoken hope has been gathered carefully by the Lord, and now those unseen seeds of faith are blooming into blessings that will surround you like a river flowing endlessly, touching every part of your being with light, warmth, and comfort. Like this video and subscribe to this channel if God has given you strength. Do not see this as a random moment or just another day, for the Lord works through times and seasons, and when He chooses to move, His hand cannot be stopped, His word cannot be silenced, and His promises cannot be broken, which means what is unfolding now in your life is sealed with His authority and cannot be taken away by fear, doubt, or the shadows of yesterday. Type 1919 if you believe healing is yours. Think of the pain you carried as a long night, heavy and unending, yet always moving quietly toward the sunrise, and now, that first gentle light is breaking across the horizon of your soul, telling you that the waiting was not wasted, the tears were not forgotten, and the faith you held onto in your weakest moments has become the very reason heaven is pouring new strength, healing, and restoration into your story. Think of a sound that can calm your thoughts, clear your stress, and help you attract new opportunities. People describe it as feeling lighter, more hopeful, and ready to receive abundance. This is not about luck but about opening your heart and mind to greater possibility. Click the link in the description and comments below to experience this sound and begin stepping toward a life filled with peace and prosperity today. The love of Jesus Christ surrounds you in this hour, reminding you that He never left your side even when you felt abandoned, for He was walking through the fire with you, holding your trembling heart with hands that can never fail, and now He is leading you out of sorrow into joy, out of fear into courage, out of despair into hope, all so that you may know the beauty of His mercy and the greatness of His power. This blessing is not only about what you will receive but about who you are becoming, because the Lord is shaping your spirit into a vessel that can hold more light, more grace, and more love than ever before, so that your life does not only carry blessings for yourself but also becomes a source of healing and encouragement for others who are still walking in darkness, still searching for the hand of God in their wilderness. Heaven has always known the timing of this moment, and while you may have thought delays meant denial, in truth, the Lord was preparing every detail of your blessing so that it would arrive not too early and not too late, but at the exact moment when your heart is ready to embrace it fully and your life is ready to grow under the weight of His glory and the sweetness of His presence. Do not hesitate or hold back in fear, because fear was never meant to rule you, and doubt was never meant to chain you, for your destiny has been written by the one who cannot fail, and when he declares that the gates are open, they will remain open until you step through them with faith, trust, and the courage to believe that his love will carry you the rest of the way. Archangel Michael is speaking now because heaven wants you to hear clearly that this blessing is yours. It has your name written on it, and no force of darkness, no voice of doubt, and no memory of pain can take it from you, because what God gives cannot be stolen, and what God blesses cannot be undone. So open your heart to receive, for your life is being changed in a way that will last forever. Remain until the last moment, because what you are about to hear is no ordinary message. Type Amen if you believe in God's endless mercy. Archangel Michael says, "The voice of heaven is pressing upon your spirit because what has been hidden from your sight for so long is now rising before you like a sunrise that cannot be stopped, and the blessing that has been locked behind the gates of delay has finally been released by the hands of the Lord, flowing toward you with a power that will not only transform your present moment but will also shape your entire destiny in ways you cannot yet see but will surely feel." This is not a message of chance or coincidence, for the Lord's movement is always guided by love and divine order, and when he chooses to open a gate, no chain of fear, no shadow of doubt, and no weapon of darkness can keep it closed, because his authority stretches beyond time and his mercy has already written this chapter of your story with care, compassion, and eternal hope. The journey you have walked until now has been full of burdens, trials, and nights where silence seemed endless, but heaven wants you to know that none of it was wasted, for every moment of struggle carried within it the seed of strength, and every tear that fell from your eyes watered the ground where today's blessing is now growing, bursting forth like a flower in a barren field, reminding you that God turns sorrow into beauty when his time comes. Even when you thought nothing was changing, the Lord was moving pieces in the unseen, preparing places for you to stand, clearing paths you could not find on your own, and holding your heart steady when storms tried to break you, so that when this moment arrived you would have the courage, the faith, and the readiness to walk forward with your eyes fixed on his light and your soul resting in his promise. The blessing that is now entering your life is not a fleeting gift meant for a moment of comfort, but it is a blessing woven with eternity, crafted with intention, and sealed with love that will remain with you through every season to come, shaping your steps, guiding your choices, and filling your spirit with the peace of knowing that you are not forgotten, never abandoned, and always surrounded by the unfailing presence of God. Think of the way the earth waits patiently for rain, dry and cracked under the sun, longing for refreshment, and then imagine how that first drop of water awakens life hidden beneath the soil, making the impossible bloom again, and in the same way, the blessing of the Lord is falling on your life now, reviving what seemed broken, healing what seemed lost, and renewing what seemed too far gone, because his mercy restores all things. This call from heaven is urgent not because the Lord wants to frighten you, but because he wants you to recognize the sacredness of this moment, to understand that the window of divine timing has opened, and to believe that receiving this blessing requires your heart to be ready, willing, and open, for God never forces his gifts upon us, but gently invites us to accept what he has been longing to give since the beginning. The presence of Jesus Christ is covering you now with a love that is deeper than any wound you carry, stronger than any fear you feel, and more lasting than any trial you have faced, for he has walked with you through the fire, and now he is walking with you into the light, not just to change your circumstances but to remind you that his love is your true treasure, your anchor, and your eternal foundation. Type 2222 to open the door to new blessings. As this blessing unfolds, you will feel a shift not only in the outer parts of your life but also within the deepest places of your spirit, because the Lord does not simply change situations, He transforms hearts, and as He pours out His gifts upon you, He is also shaping you into someone who carries greater strength, deeper compassion, and unshakable faith, so that your life becomes a living testimony of His goodness. Archangel Michael speaks with urgency because heaven knows how easily the world can distract the heart, how quickly doubt can steal joy, and how silently fear can chain hope, but this message comes to break those chains, to quiet the lies, and to remind you that when God says the gates are open, nothing can close them again. So step forward with faith, for your blessing is here, your destiny is shifting, and your future is secured in the hands of the one who loves you without end. There is a gentle frequency believed to awaken the part of your mind that focuses on growth and abundance. When you listen, you may notice stress releasing and clarity increasing. This shift allows space for fresh ideas, breakthroughs, and blessings to arrive. Click the link in the video description and comments below to begin listening today, and allow your journey toward prosperity, peace, and a brighter tomorrow to unfold. For so long you have walked through valleys that felt endless, carrying burdens that seemed too heavy for one soul to bear, yet the Lord has seen every step, counted every sigh, and held every tear in His keeping, and today He declares that the season of waiting has ended, for the blessing that was promised is no longer delayed, and the destiny prepared for you has begun to unfold with a beauty that will shape your life forever. The voice of heaven is not faint or uncertain, but strong and steady, reminding you that what God has spoken cannot be undone, and what He has set in motion cannot be reversed, because His promises are not fragile like the whispers of men but are eternal truths rooted in His unchanging love, and this blessing comes not as a passing comfort but as a lasting foundation, designed to remain with you in every season. Type Amen if you believe God is your strength, and share this powerful video with 7 faithful souls to receive blessings and miracles. Picture the river that begins as a small stream hidden in the mountains, winding through stones and shadows, gathering strength as it moves, and at last flowing wide and unstoppable into valleys that longed for water. And so it is with the blessing of the Lord in your life, for what was once unseen is now revealed, and what was once delayed has gained power through waiting, so that when it arrives it comes in fullness, overflowing into every dry place of your soul. There were moments when you thought your prayers were unanswered, but heaven was weaving the fabric of your future with threads you could not see, aligning paths, moving hearts, and preparing doors that could only open at the right time, and now that moment is here, because God's timing is perfect, never too early and never too late, but always arriving with a grace that holds you steady and a love that carries you forward. The blessing released into your life is not only about what you will receive but also about who you are called to become, for the Lord desires not just to fill your hands with gifts but to shape your heart into a vessel of His light, so that through you, His love may touch others who still walk in darkness, and your life becomes a reflection of His mercy, your words a comfort to the weary, and your presence a reminder that God is near. Think of the storms you endured, the winds that howled against you, and the nights when you feared the dawn would never come, and now see how those very storms have strengthened your spirit, teaching you resilience, carving deep places in your soul where God's grace could dwell, and today those storms give way to calm skies, as the hand of the Lord reaches into your story with healing, renewal, and the tender assurance that you were never forsaken. Type 2121 if you trust God's plan for your life. This is why the message comes with urgency, because the Lord wants your heart to awaken fully, to recognize the moment, and to step forward in faith without hesitation, for blessings are not meant to be admired from afar but to be embraced, received, and lived, and heaven desires that you walk boldly through the gates now opened, knowing that what awaits you is not temporary joy but lasting transformation, written by God Himself. The love of Jesus Christ covers this moment like a mantle of light, surrounding you with a peace that the world cannot understand and a strength that fear cannot weaken, for He carried your pain to bring you healing, and now He carries your future to bring you hope, so rest in His presence, trust in His guidance, and believe that what He has begun in your life will be completed with a glory greater than you can imagine. Archangel Michael speaks now to anchor this truth in your spirit, to silence every whisper of doubt, and to remind you that what is unfolding is not a dream that will fade but a destiny that will last forever, because the gates of your blessing have been opened, the chains have been broken, and the story of your life is being rewritten by the one whose love has no end and whose promises never fail. Archangel Michael says, "The hour has come when the heavens themselves lean closer to whisper over your life, for the blessing that has been sealed in God's timing has finally been released, and now the streams of His mercy are flowing toward you like rivers that cannot be contained, carrying not only answers to long-held prayers but also a shift in destiny that will remain with you for every step of the journey ahead." For years you have carried the weight of unanswered questions, walking through seasons where shadows felt heavy and the silence of waiting pressed against your heart, yet all along the Lord was watching, carefully weaving your path, and protecting you from doors that were not meant for you, until the moment would come when the gates of heaven would open with such certainty that no force could ever close them again, and today is that moment. The love of God does not move hurriedly nor does it falter, but it waits until the ground of your spirit is ready to hold the fullness of His gift, and now that readiness has been found in you, for your endurance through trials has softened your heart, your faith through hardship has deepened your roots, and your hope that survived even the coldest nights has become the very reason this blessing is being poured out like a flood that cannot be turned back. Imagine a barren land waiting for rain, cracked by the sun and longing for life, then picture the clouds gathering above and finally breaking open, releasing water that soaks into every dry place and awakens hidden seeds, and in this same way the Lord is touching your life, reviving what seemed impossible to restore, lifting what was too heavy for you to carry, and turning every broken fragment into a testimony of His unending grace. The gates of your blessing are not ordinary doors, for they are woven with divine promise, sealed with eternal love, and guarded by the power of Christ, which means no fear can take what has been given, no darkness can undo what has been spoken, and no past sorrow can cancel what is unfolding now, because what God has prepared for you belongs to you alone, and nothing in all creation has the authority to steal it away. As you receive this gift, know that it is more than comfort for your heart, it is also the shaping of your spirit into something stronger, gentler, and more filled with light than before, because God does not simply change your circumstances, He transforms who you are within them, making you into a vessel of His peace, a bearer of His love, and a living reminder that faith, even when tested, produces a harvest that cannot be destroyed. Type 2020 to embrace joy and strength in Christ. The journey that seemed endless was never wasted, for every step in the wilderness was teaching you reliance on God, every tear in the silence was planting hope deeper in your soul, and every moment of weakness was making room for His strength to dwell in you. And now that strength is rising, now that hope is blossoming, and now His peace is filling the places where fear once lived, because He has chosen this moment for your destiny to shift forever. Archangel Michael speaks with such urgency because heaven does not want you to miss the sacredness of this hour, for the call is not to tomorrow or someday in the future, but to this very moment, where your heart is open and your blessing is ready, reminding you that delay is over, promises are alive, and your story is being touched by the hand of God who never forgets His children. Let the love of Jesus Christ be the anchor of this new beginning, holding you steady when waves of doubt try to rise, reminding you that His presence has never left you, and assuring you that His light will carry you through every season to come, because this blessing is not a fleeting moment of joy but a permanent mark of God's goodness, meant to remain with you for the rest of your life and beyond. Your mind holds a hidden ability to invite more ease and abundance into your life. This sound wave has been designed to gently activate that state of openness, helping you shift from worry into trust. Many say it brings clarity and helps align with opportunities they didn't notice before. Click the link in the video description and comments below to listen today and welcome the flow of prosperity into your journey. Archangel Michael says, "The heavens are heavy with a message meant to settle deeply into your heart, because the season of waiting has ended and the Lord has chosen this very moment to open the gates of your blessing, releasing what has been stored up for you with care, sealed by His promise, and now sent forth to change not just one part of your life but the entirety of your journey, marking it with grace that will remain forever." Every prayer you have spoken, even the ones whispered with trembling lips in the quiet of the night, has been gathered into the hands of the Lord, and none have been forgotten, for though the answers seemed slow, they were being shaped in the secret places, refined with wisdom and prepared for release in a time such as this. And now the heavens declare that the blessing you have long awaited is no longer hidden but is being revealed with light that cannot be dimmed. The weight of disappointment may have once pressed against your spirit, making you believe that nothing would ever change, but the love of God was never absent, and even in the silence He was moving, for His ways are not delayed but purposeful, and His promises are not fragile but eternal. So today He comes not to give you a momentary relief but to bring you into a destiny that will stand firm through every storm and shine bright in every season. Imagine a long winter, where branches are bare and the ground is hard, yet beneath the surface life is waiting, unseen but alive, and then the first signs of spring break through the frost, proving that what seemed lifeless was only resting, and in this same way your life is awakening to the touch of God's blessing, proving that nothing was lost, nothing was wasted, and everything you endured was leading to this unveiling of His goodness. Type 1313 to affirm strength through the Lord. The blessing that comes to you now is more than provision, more than opportunity, and more than comfort, for it is a transformation of your very being, lifting the weight of sorrow, healing the cracks of brokenness, and filling you with the strength to not only receive but to carry forward His love, so that your life becomes a beacon of hope, a testimony of faith, and a vessel of light that others may see and find courage through. The love of Jesus Christ is resting upon you like a covering, reminding you that you were never alone in the fire and never forgotten in the wilderness, because His presence has always walked beside you, His hand has always held you, and His heart has always known your pain, and now He is leading you into a season where peace flows freely, joy rises unshaken, and hope becomes the song that guides your steps. Archangel Michael brings this call with urgency because heaven desires for you to embrace this blessing without fear or delay, for the gates are not opened in vain but with purpose, and the moment is not accidental but divine, reminding you that this is the hour when your destiny begins to shift in ways that cannot be undone, for once the Lord declares a change, it is written in eternity, never to be overturned. Let the trials you endured become the proof of how far you have come, and let the hope you carried be the reason you now walk boldly through the open gates, because what lies ahead is not built on your strength but on God's promise, and His promise does not fail, His promise does not fade, and His promise does not change, so you can rest in the certainty that this blessing is secure in Him. Even as you step forward, the Lord is not only placing new things in your life but also renewing what was broken, restoring what was taken, and redeeming what was lost, for His love is not partial but complete, and when He blesses fully, holding nothing back, because His desire is that you may know the depth of His mercy and the greatness of His power in every corner of your existence. Archangel Michael speaks this truth so that your heart will not waver, for the gates are open, the blessing is flowing, and your life is forever changed by the touch of the Lord, who has called you, chosen you, and marked you with love that cannot be shaken, assuring you that what begins now is a destiny filled with His light, sealed with His presence, and secured in His eternal hands. Archangel Michael says, "The heavens are filled with a holy urgency, for the Lord has declared that the blessing you have long awaited is no longer beyond reach, because the gates of His goodness have been opened and streams of grace are now flowing into your life, carrying peace that surpasses the weight of your struggles and light that breaks through every shadow that has followed you through the years." There were days when you wondered if the silence of heaven meant you were forgotten, and nights when your heart grew weary from carrying burdens that seemed to stretch without end, yet in every moment, the Lord was nearer than your breath, holding you when you felt alone, guiding you when you could not see the path, and whispering strength into your spirit so that you would not give up before this appointed time of release. Type 1212 if you know God is guiding your steps. This blessing is not a small comfort meant to soothe you for a fleeting moment, but a destiny-shaping shift prepared long before you faced the pain of yesterday, because God's hand has been upon your life since the beginning, writing chapters that lead to hope, even when the pages of your story seem to be filled with sorrow. And now those very sorrows are being turned into songs of victory that will remain with you forever. The love of Jesus Christ surrounds you like the morning sun breaking across the horizon, gentle yet unstoppable, filling every place that once knew darkness with the brilliance of His mercy, and as this blessing flows into your life, it brings with it a renewal that touches not only your present but also the wounds of your past, proving that nothing is beyond His power to heal, restore, and transform. Think of a tree that stood through countless storms, its branches battered and its bark scarred, yet its roots held firm beneath the earth, and when spring returned, it stretched again toward the light with new blossoms, stronger and more beautiful than before, and so it is with you, for every storm you endured has strengthened your foundation, and now the Lord is causing you to rise again, renewed and overflowing with life. The urgency of this message is born from heaven's desire that you do not overlook the moment, because the blessing has already been released, the gates already opened, and your destiny already shifting, but you must choose to embrace it, to step into it with faith that leaves behind fear, and to walk forward with the assurance that what God has begun in you cannot be undone by doubt or delay. This gift from heaven is not only about lifting your burdens but also about filling you with a deeper sense of who you are in Christ, for you are chosen, beloved, and set apart, and as the blessing rests upon your life, it shapes you into a vessel that reflects His love, so that others who are weary may look upon your life and see the goodness of God shining through you like a lamp in the night. The tears you cried in secret have watered the ground where new joy now grows, and the prayers you thought were unheard have been stored in the heart of God, waiting for this exact moment to be answered, not with a whisper but with a flood, not with a fragment but with fullness, for the Lord never gives sparingly but pours out with abundance when the appointed time arrives, and that time is here. Let the peace of Christ calm every fear, let His presence quiet every doubt, and let His love guide you into the blessing that stands before you, because you are not stepping into this alone, but with the one who has always walked beside you, the one who carries your destiny in His hands, and the one whose promise ensures that this blessing is eternal, unshakable, and deeply rooted in His love. Imagine a sound that gently guides your mind to release doubt and embrace possibility. For many, it feels like a doorway opening into freedom and abundance. This is about nurturing your inner strength and aligning with the energy of prosperity. Click the link in the description and comments below to experience this uplifting sound and allow your life to be filled with peace, hope, and the blessings waiting for you. Archangel Michael says, "The message that flows from heaven into your spirit carries a power that cannot be ignored, for the gates of blessing that were once guarded by silence have been opened wide by the hand of the Lord, and through them pours a flood of love, healing, and hope that will not only restore what was lost but also create a future filled with beauty beyond anything your heart has imagined." Type 1111 if you believe heaven is listening. The journey that has led you here was not easy, for you walked roads shadowed by sorrow and carried burdens that seemed endless, yet every step was seen by the Lord, and every tear became part of the foundation of this moment, because what you endured did not destroy you, but instead prepared you for a destiny that is greater than the pain you once thought would define your story forever. This blessing is not a fragile thing that fades with time, nor is it a temporary comfort meant to be held for a moment, for it has been woven into your destiny with threads of eternity, secured by the promises of God, and it comes to you now not because of chance but because His timing is always perfect, and His love has been waiting for the right moment to pour into your life in ways that will never be taken away. Imagine the dry ground that cracks beneath the sun, longing for water, then see how rain falls suddenly, soaking into every part, and within days life begins to rise where death once reigned, and so it is with your spirit in this hour, for the blessing of the Lord is reviving what felt broken, breathing strength into what felt weak, and igniting joy in the places where sorrow tried to take root. The love of Jesus Christ surrounds you with a tenderness that lifts every fear, with a power that silences every doubt, and with a presence that makes you certain you are not forgotten, for even in your darkest hours He never left, and now He is showing you the truth that His promises were alive all along, waiting for this moment when your heart is ready to receive and your life is ready to shine with His glory. This message comes with urgency because the heavens desire for you to recognize the sacredness of this season, to understand that your blessing has already been released, and to believe with a faith that does not falter, for when the Lord declares a door open, no shadow can close it, and when He declares your destiny renewed, no force can hold back what He has chosen to pour into your life. The trials you carried have become the soil from which your strength now grows, and the nights of loneliness have become the reason your heart leans more fully on God, and what once felt like brokenness is now being reshaped into beauty, because the Lord never wastes pain, but uses it as the very place where His love can rise and His blessing can bloom, making your story not one of defeat but of triumph in His name. Let this blessing fill not only your days with peace but also your spirit with courage, for the Lord is not calling you to step timidly into what has been given but boldly, with the certainty that His hand will guide you, His heart will sustain you, and His promise will keep you, because what you are stepping into now is not only a blessing but the unfolding of a destiny secured in His eternal love. Every delay that once broke your heart has been turned into preparation, every disappointment that once weighed you down has been transformed into strength, and every waiting season that once felt empty is now revealed as the soil in which the fullness of God's promise has grown, and as you step through the gates of blessing, you will see clearly that He was always working for your good. Type 1010 to affirm that God's timing is perfect. Archangel Michael speaks now with the voice of assurance, telling you that your blessing is here, your destiny is shifting, and your life is forever changed, for the gates that were closed are open, the path that was hidden is revealed, and the love of the Lord is pouring into you with a depth that can never be measured, a strength that can never be stolen, and a promise that will never fade away. Archangel Michael says, "The heavens are leaning close with a voice that carries both urgency and tenderness, because the Lord has opened the gates of blessing that were once closed before you, and what flows toward your life now is not a fragment of goodness but an abundance prepared from the beginning, waiting for this very moment when your spirit could receive it with fullness, trust, and faith." Every season of hardship you endured has brought you here, shaping the soil of your heart to hold more of God's presence, for though you walked through nights of silence, those nights were not empty, they were sacred times where the Lord was molding your spirit, strengthening your faith, and preparing you for blessings that are far greater than the sorrow you thought would remain with you forever. The shift that is unfolding is not something that will fade with time, but a change written into your destiny, sealed by God's authority, and filled with love that will remain through every season to come, because when the Lord declares a blessing, it is not temporary or fragile, it is unshakable, and what He gives becomes part of your life's foundation, carrying you through both quiet days and storm-filled nights. Think of the sunrise that slowly breaks the horizon after a long night, scattering shadows and touching everything with golden light, and imagine that same light falling into the deepest parts of your life, illuminating what was once hidden, healing what was once broken, and filling your days with hope so strong that no darkness can silence it, and this is the way the Lord's blessing is now touching you. The love of Jesus Christ is resting upon your heart with a nearness that cannot be measured, reminding you that every step you took in sorrow, He took with you, every moment you felt alone, He carried you, and every prayer you thought unheard was cradled in His mercy, and now He is answering not with whispers of comfort alone but with a release of blessing that will shape the rest of your life. Archangel Michael speaks with urgency because heaven does not want you to miss the sacredness of this hour, for blessings are meant to be received in faith, and this moment requires your heart to be open, your spirit to trust, and your soul to believe that the gates of heaven are open wide, pouring into your life what no fear can cancel and no doubt can steal. The trials that once wounded you are now becoming the very testimony of God's faithfulness, because every tear you cried watered the roots of hope, and every time you stood again after falling, the Lord was strengthening your foundation, and now that strength is shining in you, now that hope is rising through you, and the blessing that flows today is proving that nothing endured was wasted. This outpouring is more than the changing of circumstances, it is the transformation of your spirit, making you into someone who carries light into the world, who breathes encouragement into weary hearts, and who walks as a reminder that God's love is alive and unending, because He not only blesses you for your sake but also so your life becomes a vessel that reflects His mercy to others. Let your heart rest in this truth, that the blessing you now receive is not fragile like the promises of men but firm like the word of the Lord, it is not fleeting like the comforts of the world but eternal like the love of Christ, and it will remain with you in every step, through every season, anchoring your life in peace and filling your soul with a joy that cannot be stolen. Archangel Michael brings this assurance so that you will not hesitate, but step forward in faith, for the gates are open, the blessing is flowing, and your destiny is forever changed by the hand of the Lord, whose love has carried you here and whose promise will never leave you, sealing your life in hope, healing, and the endless light of His presence. Type 999 if you trust Jesus with all your heart. For so long you walked beneath the weight of unanswered prayers, carrying questions that seemed to echo with no reply, yet every whisper of your heart was gathered by the Lord, every tear was seen, and every longing was remembered, for nothing you offered in faith was ignored. And now the season of silence gives way to a season of revelation, where what was once delayed is now released with fullness. Imagine unlocking a gentle sound that helps your mind feel clearer, calmer, and more open to abundance. Many people describe it as a wave that shifts stress into hope, and opens doors to new possibilities in life. It's not about working harder but about aligning your thoughts with positivity. Click the link in the video description and comments to discover this sound and invite fresh opportunities into your journey today. The blessing that comes to you is not born of chance but of promise, and it carries with it the assurance that God's timing is always perfect, never early and never late, but arriving at the very moment when your heart is ready, your spirit is strong, and your life can hold the beauty of what He has prepared, because the Lord never gives half blessings, but complete gifts filled with His mercy and His power. Imagine standing at the edge of the sea as the tide rushes forward, unstoppable and unending, covering the shore with waves that cleanse and renew, and in this same way the Lord's blessing is reaching every part of your life, touching what was broken, lifting what was heavy, and filling what was empty, until all that once felt barren is alive again with His goodness. The love of Jesus Christ covers you in this hour with a closeness that cannot be measured, for He has walked with you through the darkest valleys, carried you when your strength failed, and stood beside you when fear tried to steal your courage, and now He shows you that every step you took has led you here, to a place where His promises are no longer distant but living realities unfolding before your eyes. Archangel Michael speaks with urgency because heaven desires for you to awaken fully to the moment, to understand that this is not a dream that will fade but a shift that will last forever, for the gates of blessing are open and waiting for you to step forward in faith, to embrace what the Lord has prepared, and to believe with certainty that His love cannot fail and His promise cannot be broken. The trials that shaped your journey were never wasted, for every hardship carved deeper places in your soul where hope could take root, and every delay trained your heart to trust even when answers seemed far away, and now those very lessons are the reason you are ready to walk into this blessing, not with fear but with strength, not with doubt but with confidence, knowing the Lord has carried you here. This blessing is not only for your comfort but for your calling, because God pours into your life so that His love may flow through you to others, so that your story becomes a light in the darkness, a source of encouragement to the weary, and a living testimony that no night is too long, no burden too heavy, and no valley too deep for His mercy to overcome. Let peace take root in your heart as you receive what has been released, because the Lord's blessing is not fragile like the shifting winds of the world but firm like the foundation of His eternal love, and it will stand with you, surround you, and guide you, making every step ahead a reflection of His goodness and every moment a reminder of His faithfulness. Every moment of waiting that once felt unbearable was not forgotten, for the Lord has kept record of every tear you shed and every sigh that rose from the depths of your heart, and though the silence felt endless, He was working in the unseen, arranging every detail with care, ensuring that when the time came, the blessing would not arrive in fragments but in fullness, bringing healing to wounds, restoration to losses, and joy that will remain unshaken. The transformation that now begins is not something small or passing, but a shift written into eternity, designed by the One who knows your every step, because His hand has always been upon you, even when you felt abandoned, and His heart has always carried your name, even when you thought you were forgotten, and today He proves once more that His promises are not delayed, but are waiting for the appointed moment to unfold. Think of the night sky just before dawn, where darkness lingers heavy and silence stretches wide, yet suddenly the horizon begins to glow, and the first light of morning scatters every shadow, and in the same way, the blessing of the Lord is breaking into your life, shining light into the darkest places, renewing what was weary, and giving you hope so strong that no night can ever steal it again. The love of Jesus Christ covers this moment with power and tenderness, for He has walked beside you when others turned away, held you close when sorrow tried to crush your spirit, and carried your burdens when your strength could not, and now He lifts you into a new season, not only changing what surrounds you but transforming the very core of your being, so you may live with peace, courage, and unshakable faith. Archangel Michael speaks now because heaven does not want you to overlook the sacredness of this time, for blessings are not meant to be admired from a distance but embraced with a heart full of faith, and this is the hour when you are being invited to step into a destiny that is alive, certain, and filled with the eternal assurance that God's love has written your story with victory that cannot be undone. The struggles you endured were not wasted, for every challenge became the soil where endurance grew, and every disappointment became the place where hope took deeper root, and now those very trials stand as proof that nothing can keep you from the love of God, because even the hardest nights have become stepping stones leading you to the blessing that now flows into your life with unstoppable power. This blessing is not only for your comfort but for your calling, because the Lord desires that your life become a vessel of His mercy, a reflection of His kindness, and a testimony to those who still wander in shadows, reminding them that He is faithful, that He does not abandon His children, and that His promises always rise in fullness at the appointed time, just as they are rising for you now. Let peace settle deep within you as you step forward, knowing that this blessing is not fragile, it is not temporary, and it is not uncertain, for it has been secured by the eternal love of Christ, sealed with His promise, and guarded by His hand, which means no fear can remove it, no doubt can erase it, and no darkness can overcome it, for it has been given to you forever. Archangel Michael speaks this truth with urgency so you will not delay nor turn back, but walk boldly through the gates that are open, for your blessing has arrived, your destiny is shifting, and your life is now held more deeply than ever in the hands of the Lord, who surrounds you with love unending, fills you with peace unshakable, and writes over you a promise that will stand through all eternity. What if a simple 7-minute frequency could help your thoughts focus on prosperity and peace? Listeners often share how it brings clarity, motivation, and an uplifting sense of direction. Instead of worry, imagine welcoming calm energy that supports your goals and dreams. Click the link in the description and comments below to listen and experience how this sound can guide you toward a brighter, more abundant tomorrow. Every hardship you carried was not ignored by heaven, for the Lord kept watch over you when others turned away. He listened when your voice was weak, and He strengthened you when your spirit was ready to give up, and though you thought your prayers were left unanswered, they were being stored in His keeping, waiting for this exact season when they could be poured back into your life with abundance that no darkness can steal. This blessing is not a fleeting comfort nor a fragile promise, but a lasting reality rooted in God's eternal love, designed to remain with you not only in moments of joy but also in days of struggle, giving you strength to endure, courage to rise, and hope that carries you through every season, because when the Lord opens His hand, what He gives is forever, secured by His word that never fails. Picture the fields after a long drought, dry and lifeless, until the skies break open with rain that soaks into the earth, awakening seeds that had been hidden beneath the surface, and soon new life begins to rise in colors more beautiful than before, and in the same way, the blessing of God is falling upon you now, awakening dreams that seemed forgotten, restoring faith that felt fragile, and bringing renewal that touches every part of your being. The love of Jesus Christ surrounds you like a shelter that cannot be moved, a covering that protects you from fear, and a light that leads you through uncertainty, for He has always been near, carrying you through storms you thought you would not survive, holding you when you felt too weak to stand, and now He is lifting you into a season where His goodness is made clear and His mercy is your song. The tears you shed in silence were not wasted, for they watered the soil of your faith, and the nights of struggle you endured became the reason your heart leans more deeply on the Lord, and now those very moments are turning into testimonies, for the blessing that flows into your life today is proof that no pain is wasted, no trial is without purpose, and no waiting season ends without the fulfillment of promise. This blessing is not only meant to lift your spirit but to transform the way you live, so that your life becomes a living testimony of God's love, shining as a light for those still searching for hope, and showing through your words, your kindness, and your faith that the Lord is faithful, His timing is perfect, and His promises are sure, for you are not only called to receive but also to reflect His love. Let your heart rest in peace as you receive this truth, knowing that this blessing is eternal, not built on the fragile strength of human effort but secured by the hand of the Lord, and because it is His gift, no fear can cancel it, no doubt can diminish it, and no darkness can undo it, for it is sealed with His promise and guarded by His everlasting mercy. Amen.